Today is the final day of campaigning for the first phase of the West Bengal elections. At 5 p.m. today, the state will enter 48-hour period of silence ahead of polling this Thursday. In the first phase of elections, 152 constituencies across 16 districts will go to vote. According to official figures, there are over 36 million voters, and of these 36 million voters, 18.4 million are male voters, while 17.5 million are female voters, and 465 are the third gender electors. The Election Commission has stepped up security arrangements across the state ahead of polling, with more than 8,000 booths that have been identified as super sensitive to ensure free, fair and peaceful polling. Central forces have also been deployed along the surveillance teams and quick response teams. Strict monitoring has been ordered in broader areas, with some zones sealed to prevent untoward incidents. In fact, authorities say that these measures are essential to maintain law and order during the entire voting process. Leaders from all major parties are holding rallies across the state, aiming to sway undecided voters before the mandated period of silence begins. Among the key contenders is BJP's Shovendu Adhikari, the leader of opposition, who has thrown a big challenge to Mamata Banerjee. He's being pitted against Pabitra Kar, a long-time associate who recently joined the TMC in Nandigram. Dilip Ghosh is another senior BJP leader and former state president who has been a prominent face of party's expansion in West Bengal. He's contesting from Kharagpur Sadar. And veteran Congress leader Adhiranjan Chaudhary is making a comeback to assembly politics after 25 years, seen as a crucial move to revive Congress in Murshidabad. He faces BJP MLA Subrata Mehta, who is seeking second term from Baharampur Assembly constituency in Murshidabad district. While Phase 1 takes place this Thursday, the remaining 142 seats will go to polls on the 29th. The fate of the 294-member assembly will be revealed on 4th of May when the counting begins. And joining us on the broadcast is our correspondent Dharamjot Kaur, who's been on the ground getting us the ground updates. Dharamjot, if you can once again talk to us like you have been about the major issues that will be considered while people cast their votes, as well as the poll plans by the major parties, the BJP, TMC and even the Congress for that matter.
Well, Samiksha, a lot of tall promises have been made by the BJP and the TMC as well. Of course, the incumbent party, the Trinamool Congress, which is being led by Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister, has been banking on their welfare schemes for women and for rural people living in the rural areas, and also promising to do more if they get elected once again. This would be the fourth term that Mamata Banerjee has her eyes set on. On the other hand, you have the BJP that has made massive inroads in the last assembly election in 2021, where they won 77 seats. They're trying to get a majority this time and flip the electoral mandate in the state. How much of that really happens, we will find out once voting begins on 23rd and then in the second phase on 29th. But as you mentioned, there have been massive rallies going on. Ahead of the first phase, we just have a few more hours of election campaigning left before the silent period begins. So we're seeing a lot of senior leadership, especially from the BJP, that has come to West Bengal to campaign for the party and the candidates here in the state. We're talking about the Prime Minister himself, who has been to several districts of West Bengal. Amit Shah is currently in the state. He's in Siliguri campaigning across different assembly constituencies. We had Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta come to the state last evening and campaign in Asansol and other districts of West Bengal. So clearly a lot of senior leadership that has come in from the BJP to campaign for the party and try and push and woo the voters for a flip this time in West Bengal. But in the middle of this, as you rightly mentioned, there are a myriad of issues. The issues for the urban population and rural population are completely different. The urban people are more concerned about their own youth leaving the state and going for better opportunities outside. They're looking for more employment and also more trade and investment in West Bengal, which they feel has been lacking for the past few years. Now, whether that is something that Mamata Banerjee can bring back in a new term, or is that something that the BJP will bring if at all it wins the election on May the 4th, that is something to watch out for, Samiksha.
Yes. Dharamjot, stay with us. If you can once again talk to us about the heavyweights that have been fielded from the BJP and the TMC and the particular constituencies that will be important to watch out for in the two phases.
Well, first things first, Samiksha, I think we've all been talking for the past few weeks about the SIR, which has been a major political controversy in West Bengal. All the districts that have been majorly impacted by it, Murshidabad, Malda, the district where I am right now, all these districts which have seen a massive number of voters who have been excluded from the list, and the last minute judicial appeals that are being heard from those people. In fact, today is the last day for phase 1 where all the appeals will be closed, and that will determine how many excluded voters actually find their names back in the supplementary list. So SIR has been a major political issue that has all the heavyweights in this election talking about it, especially in the border districts and others that have been severely impacted by it in West Bengal. We also have in the second phase, that is on the 29th, we have a major contest coming up between Mamata Banerjee and Suvendu Adhikari. Now, Suvendu, the BJP leader of opposition, is contesting not from one but two constituencies, Samiksha. So it's a massive battle to watch out for, and even more higher stakes for Mamata Banerjee because she personally lost the election from her seat in 2021. Whether she can flip that this time and whether her government can remain in power in the midst of all the election rhetoric and massive campaigning that has been happening for the past few weeks, that is something to watch out for.
Yes, Dharamjot, that's exactly what I was coming to, talking about the border districts, talk to us about how border infiltration is something which is going to be considered by the people, because this is one issue which has been quite challenging for the state dispensation and even the BSF to tackle for that matter.
Absolutely. In fact, coming to how the parties are projecting themselves as far as the issue of immigration and infiltration is concerned, we have the BJP on one hand, who has promised to ensure tighter laws and security in place along the border. In fact, I was in one of the border villages just a couple of days ago, Samiksha, and there the locals were talking about how the situation has changed quite a bit in the past 5-6 years, especially after fencing and more BSF presence along the international India-Bangladesh border. So they are seeing a positive change. But clearly that is something that is done by the central government, which is led by the BJP. So the BJP is trying to leverage that as far as the assembly elections are also concerned in West Bengal. The TMC, on the other hand, has dismissed all of these accusations that have been brought in by the BJP. They're saying that it is an insider versus outsider, a voter identity politics that has been played by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, at the end of the day, it all boils down to what the voters see on the ground, what these border districts have been witnessing for the past few years, and the kind of change that they've been seeing, negative or positive. The issues of immigration remain, but they have seen a change in terms of the numbers decreasing in the past few years. So which side really reaps the benefit of this change is something that we will find out in the next few days.
Right.